Hi, everyone. I'm Sean O'Kane with Chip Estimate TV, where we bring you the latest industry trends and information in IP and SoC design. My guest, once again, is the traveling vagabond reporter, Mr. John Blyler, Vice President and Chief Content Officer at Extension Media. And John also writes a blog twice a week on ChipEstimate.com called IP Insider. Thank you for joining me today.
Thanks, Sean.
So you were up there in San Francisco for SEMICON West, and as I can see in the background, there's the Bay Bridge. Did you travel across the bridge?
Well, yeah, but geez, it's bumpy, you know. They need to tighten some bolts. Huh?
So not too safe.
I'm going to take a different route back.
Well, back at the ranch, yeah. Well, let me just explain a little bit about what SEMICON West. It's companies display new products and technologies for the microelectronics design and manufacturing, from supply chain, electronic design automation, wafer processing, assembly, packaging, and test. That's right. Am I right? Okay, yep. Good. So in our conversation prepping for this show, you had mentioned talking about innovation, and innovation occurs at the boundaries of disciplines. Now tell me and explain to me how IP is related to that.
Right, and so this boundary area is the boundary of disciplines, as you said. So electrical and mechanical, and up and down the value chain, our food chain, if you will, in the semiconductor world. And so the question becomes, well, how do you handle the IP? You know, if you've got electrical and software and mechanical and blah blah blah, blah manufacturing IP. There's many different approaches. One approach is this kind of open innovation now. IMEC and Samsung and others talk about, they use different words, but the idea is that you work in such a way that you can share IP across companies and even perhaps maybe even governments before you reach a competitive state, and then you need to change it, change the agreement.
Oh, okay. Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know, we've talked about MEMS in the past, and this is always, well, last year at SEMICON West. Yeah. And so there's five MEMS sensors in these new Google glasses, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and this is wrapped around this augmented reality that you're very interested in, because it keeps kind of coming up. So, in your crystal ball, what will the future hold for augmented reality?
Oh, just anything you can imagine. So the Google glasses, they're supposed to be out in November, I think it is, you know, for the general public. 5 sensors to track, you know, motion and just everything you can imagine. Other places are working on contact versions of that same thing. And, you know, the thing with MEMS, I think the term smart fusion is being used. And this idea is, yes, you have the sensors, but also right next to the sensors now you have the microcontroller, you know, the A to D and whatnot. So you have these smart MEMS, and they're appearing just everywhere you can think of. That's really going to change the way that we perceive and interact with our world.
Mm-hmm. We've talked in the past about the end of Moore's Law and the beginning of these new options that you're saying, SOI, the SOI silicon on insulator technology. Why would that be the end of Moore's Law?
Fair question, and I'll probably get a lot of flack for this, but you know, it's at least the slowing down of Moore's Law in terms of the cost efficiency of the transistors and whatnot. So FinFETs are definitely an answer, and they're going to be coming forward, but you'll see even TSMC has kind of pulled back a little bit on when they think the FinFETs will really hit mainstream. So what are some of the other options? One is to stay planar and to use some other materials like the silicon on insulator and whatnot. And these are, as a matter of fact, in our cell phones, over 50% of the RF now is now done with I think they call it a high resistive SOI. So at least we have some good options until FinFET and we figure out how to get Moore's Law to drive down even deeper.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for joining me today and giving us the update. The fabulous Mr. John Blyler here, reporting from San Francisco.
Live.
Yes.
But not going back over the Bay Bridge.
Yes. Anyway, thank you very much for joining. For John Blyler, my name is Sean O'Kane. We'll see you next time on Chip Estimate TV.
Thank you.